Hello there, I'd just like to introduce you to Tora's Fort William Mk1 cookery. This is copied from original and I'll go into that a bit later. And once again, I'd really like to thank the Carmi for doing such a superb job in replicating this particular cookery. A cookery I absolutely love, by the way. When I first went to the Gherkin Museum all those years ago, when I saw the Mk1s on display there, I was absolutely captivated by them. They're fantastic cookery to have. Anyway, this particular one has a 35 centimetre long blade, a belly depth of 6.2 centimetres and a weight of 696 grams. Now, I think Mk1 cookery were introduced into the Indian Army when the Hague reforms happened in 1903. And as far as the 2nd 8th Gurkha rifles are concerned and receiving these, I think that happened when the 7th Gurkha rifles became the 2nd 8th Gurkha rifles in 1907. What happened was the 7th Gurkha rifles was to be designated a Rhine Limbu regiment. So the 7th Gurkha rifles then joined the 8th Gurkha rifles as they were a Magyar and Gulung regiment. So the old 7th GR became the 2nd 8th GR, so they could retain the status for Magyar and Gulung, and a new 7th GR regiment was founded for the Rai and the Limbu. It gets quite complicated sometimes with Gurkha history, as you can see. These are fabulous cookery. I absolutely love them. I know one or two collectors said they're not fighting cookery, blah, 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 but I can assure you they are in the right hands. One of the things that you get with the Fort William cookery is that stupa cowdy, the notch by the bolster there. That's indicative of a Mk1, and of course the sunken rivet nut in the butt of the handle as well. Lovely, lovely cookery, and you can whip it around, absolutely no problem at all. And these cookery always remind me of incidents in World War One, when, for example, the 3rd Gurkha rifles, who we know used Mk1s, was in Mesopotamia, and a German, I think it was a German, or maybe a Turk, tried to get out of the trench, and this Gurkha grabbed hold of his leg and slashed him across his bottom and dragged him back down into the trench. There's some fabulous stuff about cookery use in Mesopotamia in various accounts and stuff like that, but I always imagine this to be the cookery that Gurkha used. Fabulous French cookery. They were issued up until around 1917. I've had a Mk1 with 17 on it and a provenance of it being 1917 as well. So we think, well, at least I now think, that they were from around 1903 to 1917. So it's a bit of a crossover between the Mk1 and the Mk2, which is not surprising really. But again, I absolutely love these. When I first saw them in the Gherkin Museum, I was completely captivated by them, and they are an absolute favourite of mine, as anybody that knows me will tell you. Now, it's based on an original, but I'll come back to that because I've nearly forgot the scamp again. The Mk1s, as a general rule, not always, came with a chapmak and carder less done scabbard. In other words, they didn't come with the chapmak and carders. Came with a scabbard like that with the ridge to retain the frog, and more often than not they came with this kind of frog, and I'll show you the original right now. In actual fact, this is the original 2nd 8th that it's copied from, and with a bit of luck you can just see the stamp on the cookery there, 7th 8th. And what's the service number again? Service number of 103. Again, a super cookery. The Carmi really have done a fantastic job in replicating this. I don't know if I can really kind of show you. I hope that shows you how accurate the Carmi have been in reproducing this cookery. To have the original with the 2nd 8th on it, for me, is just fantastic. And I'd really like to thank Ruben for allowing me, after years of hounding him, to buy that cookery off him. That's the original scabbard. As you can see, that replicates very closely. Is replicated very closely by our own, with the ridge there to to stop the frogs going up, and there's the original frog. Now obviously the old one has become discoloured with it being with boot polish and dubbing and that over the years, so don't compare it. This would have been very much the original colour of the scabbard. I just absolutely love these cookery. I just think they're fantastic. Don't know if I can just go back a bit, but there you go. Just awesome cookery. I mean, you know, couldn't think of anything better to have in your hand really in trench warfare. Fantastic. Now, a book recommendation. My old friend John Cross, Lieutenant Colonel John Cross, was approached by the then King of Nepal, so obviously quite a few years ago now, to do a historical account of Nepalese history. So JP decided to do historical novels because it'd obviously be more interesting for the likes of me and most other people as well. And the one he sets off with is The Throne of Stone, which is how the Shahs became head of Gorkha and stuff like that. It's a really interesting book, lots of historical information in there. It covers from 1479 to 1559, and it's got great bits of information in it. I said all sorts of things like that at the end, so you understand what's been said in the book better, and in fact what the Gurkhas and people like that are talking about as well. Fantastic historical novel, and it really gives you a good insight into how Nepal became what it is today. Quite interesting actually is that in Gorkha, the palace there, when it was conquered by Drabir Shah, Drabir Shah cut down on the then monarch, and it cut a little bit through one of the beams in the ceiling. Now JP managed to see that, which is very unusual because you have to be a Brahmin caste to go inside that particular part of the palace, and they mistook John for being a Brahmin, so he was able to go in there and see where this final cut that made Drabir Shah the king of Gorkha actually happened. So he thinks actually that might have been done by a Kura, but it might also have been done by a Talwa as well. But yeah, this really is a great book, and it's the first of I think 4 novels he's done that cover Nepalese history, including the Anglo-Nepali War and the lead up to World War I and World War II and stuff like that. So they are a great lot of books, and in the next video I'll cover that a bit more in depth as well. Once again, I'd like to thank you for watching. Here's the original, and I hope you have a great day and enjoy your cookeries. Thank you very much.